Hey guys, welcome to Goat 101. Today we're going to find out if all dogs go to heaven. Spoiler alert, there might be tears. Hey guys, welcome to Goat 101. This is a place for us to show y'all some of the questions our kids are asking here at Goat and kind of give you a glimpse of how we try to answer them from a biblical perspective. So, my name's Ryan, this is Mikey and Cam, and Mikey's got a question today, so Mikey, go for it.
So my question is, do animals have souls, and more importantly, do dogs go to heaven?
Okay,
I think I'm a reincarnated dog. I believe
I don't know where cats go.
somewhere.
I don't know where cats go, but I'm 1,000%
That
dogs
is
go to heaven.
That is very important
I
to ask, do dogs go to heaven? Because we know the answer for cats.
Exactly. If we could start this off by setting the record straight, cats definitely, it's not like they cease to exist, they go to hell.
It's not like they're just not.
Okay, so I grew up, I love dogs. That you need to know that about me before I answer this question. I love dogs. I recently lost a dog who it was devastating. I was crying. It was so bad.
Maybe like the best dog I've ever known.
Yeah, the best dog.
Yeah, Jade was really good
Yeah,
dog.
she died of cancer, and so I love dogs. This is a sensitive issue for me. I grew up most of my life believing strongly that dogs went to heaven. If you told me otherwise, like, I wouldn't like you. I would probably resent you. Because I felt like because I grew up with two dogs. We had Eddie and Cassie, and they were like my childhood, my parents' dogs. You know, I grew up with them, loved them. If you told me dogs didn't go to heaven, like, I had a chapel speaker one time, like, say that pretty quickly, just like as a matter of fact thing, and I just shut him out the rest of the time. I didn't know what he said after that. I was like, I hate this guy because he just, he said something awful about these two dogs that I love. But then I've also I literally had a chapel speaker when I was in high school, and if any of my high school like friends I could have been in junior high at this point. You guys probably remember this.
Some of your fans out there.
Some of my Facebook,
Shouts out to the fans.
Some of my Facebook friends who may see this on their timeline. They probably remember this. The guy came in and he said, when you get to heaven, the humans go in one area, and then the animals who have died, they go in another area. So they continue to exist, and that was his way of saying, like, dogs and animals go to heaven, they just go to a different kind of heaven.
The Rainbow Bridge.
Right.
Yeah, no.
What is the Rainbow Bridge?
That's what people say about where dogs go. Anyway.
That's so funny. They go to a farm far away. Okay, here's to answer your question. No, when anything other than human beings die, they cease to exist. And here's why. And so I don't mean to just say that in like a flippant way. Again, I lost a dog. Super upset about it. Yeah. At the end of the day, my dog just ceased to exist. And I'm the one who's sad about it because
so they don't have souls.
They don't have souls. God created the world. Let's go to Genesis 1. Let's look at this real quick.
So what about aliens?
One question at a time. One question at a time. Okay.
But this is a touchy subject. I mean, there are going to be people watching this that are not happy about this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But they need to know if you're offended, I probably love dogs more than you, so you shouldn't be offended. Like, I have another dog. We immediately got another dog. I love that dog. I love her a lot.
I do love my dog. I do love Charlie.
Charlie's a good dog.
So, so we're going to get to the point of the creation story where God is creating animals. God said, let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the heavens. So God created the great sea creatures and every living creature that moves, with which the waters swarm according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the sea, and let the birds multiply on earth. And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. And God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kind, livestock, creeping things, beasts of the earth according to their kind, and it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth according to their kind, and the livestock according to their kind, and everything that creeps on the ground according to its kind. And God said, it was good. Then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. That's a fundamental difference here that we see in the creation story, in this narrative, if you will, of what's happening, what's taking place. Now, the important thing to remember is when we read Genesis 1, to understand this story, which was probably, so it's kind of this mix of like a narrative and a poem, right? It's a story, so it's kind of a narrative, but it was probably told in an oral tradition, sung, or in a poetic way, just so that they can, remember that well and pass it down. And so it's a little bit of both, right? So it's important to remember there's a purpose in them telling this story of origins. And the purpose wasn't to explain necessarily how to understand physiologically or scientifically everything. It was to understand meaning, purpose, why, the why questions of life. And so that fundamental difference when it says, let us create man in our image, that distinct difference tells us something about meaning and purpose and why God created everything. Yeah. That why question. And so when we look at our image, what makes us like God, you kind of said what allows reason, right? Like that's a part of it. I think I've heard C.S. Lewis say it this way: animals can't argue. Animals have instincts, right? They have desires or instincts to do one thing instead of something else. But what animals can't do and what human beings can do is a human being can do this. A human being can say, I have a desire to do this. I also have a desire to do this. Which should I do? That ability to say, I should do this, he calls it natural law, right? Or this like moral law that we all would experience within our conscience, right? We've heard that said. And the argument is that throughout any culture in the world, no matter how primitive or how updated or evolved, you might even say, everyone has a conscience, right? There is still this moral arc to the universe if we were to look at it. Yeah. And that is an expression of God's image in us, right? That's something that's unique about human beings to God. And so then if we look at this whole big picture and we say, okay, we see a created world, then we see human beings uniquely made, still made, created in this world, but God created mankind in his image, right? And then God came and he dwelled among us. He rested in his created world. You would have to say that there's a fundamental difference between why God created human beings and why God created everything else. So, and I think, let me finish this whole point and I'll get that. And I think that fundamental difference between why God created man and why God created everything else is God created man for himself and God created everything else for man and God to enjoy together.
That's what I was going to say.
And I think the important thing to take away from all this is, like, even if this makes you mad and it's hard to swallow, and even if you disagree, like, I believe that this is true, and at the end of the day, it's okay. Yeah. No one's saying, like, it's bad for us to have a dog or a cat or a snake or a lizard.
Or to even love those things.
Yeah, or to love them. I mean, there is value and there is good in us having those things and receiving joy from them. I mean, that is of the Lord. To quote Lil Wayne, like, they teach me how to love, they can teach us how to love and like how to have something dependent upon you. And then I think the other side of that it's okay is that, and something I've heard some of our other students who've really had a hard time dealing with this before is to say, like, well, I can't imagine getting to heaven and Charlie not being there. Like, that's not going to be happy. And I think that that's an important thing for us to understand is, like, kind of what we talked about a couple weeks ago. We have this skewed vision of what heaven is because Christians have spent all this time trying to describe it, and everyone's view is going to be different. We can't comprehend it. And so I think to say, if I get to heaven and my dog's not there, I'm going to be upset, it is admitting that you don't actually understand what heaven's going to look like. To understand that heaven is literally where everyone is restored, everyone is made whole, everything is perfect again, and it's going to be okay that your dog's not there. Or your cat or your lizard. Like, it's just, and again, that's something that's hard for us to understand because we do love these things and then they do leave us. Yeah. But I think that at the end of the day, we have to realize this is okay.
And that's appropriate. It's appropriate too for us to, so when again, going back to, we have these like misconceptions about what heaven is. I think a lot of people assume that heaven is, and what is to come when we think of heaven, is God taking us away from this sad, sad place to a land far, far away that's wonderful and great. The reality is, what the scriptures teach us is that God is actually bringing heaven to bear in this world, and God is restoring the created order, right? So this is the good news. The good news is that God is restoring everything. That's not just us, that's us, right? Sure. We will be restored as human beings, and our relationship with God is the key factor to that, right? That's restored. However, everything else is getting restored too. The whole, like, the world, it's a new heavens, a new earth. Like, God is restoring his created order. This is the thing, like, we were supposed to enjoy our pets. Why? Because God created them for our enjoyment.
So essentially,
I was going to say, so therefore it should hurt when we lose them, because death was never a part of God's created order. So therefore, in the new heavens and the new earth, when God's kingdom fully comes to bear in this world, there's not going to be death of God's creatures, death of human beings. It's all going to be restored. So it's appropriate that, like, when my dog died, my wife and I cried for days.
Oh, it was a rough day around here.
Dude,
when
yeah.
Cam told us.
Like, Joy and I would avoid the house because it reminded us of our dog. We were super sad, and that's appropriate. It's appropriate to lose something created by God that is precious to you, because nothing was supposed to be lost like that. But our hope is that one day, nothing will be lost. God will restore all of those things. So it's important also to remember that all of those things that I loved about my dog, like Jade was a great dog. She was obedient. She was very sweet, you know? All of those things I loved about her were expressions of my Creator that I love about Him that will one day be fully realized. And that's like the hope, is that, man, I'm sad because I lost this creature, but I'm really sad because there were things about this creature that screamed of my Creator, and one day I'll be reconciled to Him perfectly, and I will suffer no loss of Him, my relationship to Him, my relationship with any other human being, or to the created world. So,
Cool.
That's good. So guys, thanks for watching. Again, this is just a place for us to kind of share with you guys some of the things that happen behind the curtain here at GOAT. If you don't know what GOAT is, it's a ministry here in Greenville, South Carolina. It stands for Great Outdoor Adventure Trips. It's for at-risk kids. We take them outdoor trips, mentor, disciple them, train them to lead their peers, just like Mikey here. So you can find us on our website or
Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook.
Anywhere else. You can give Mikey some love, give him a shout out on any of those, and
Yep.
I don't know, he'll send you an autograph or something in the mail. So thanks again for watching, and
can we carry through on that promise? Can
Yeah.
we actually send them autographs?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to GOAT 101. Today we're going to find out why all our pets' heads are falling off.
We have to. We did not. Cool. Oh, that's cool. Never went on.
Oh man.